What's going on YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and if you're watching our SEC football channel, we are giving you our 2019 predictions here for the Missouri Tigers. Our predictions, our NCAA football simulation, the FBI, Athlon Sports. We're giving you 5 different sources here, Las Vegas as well, and their win total for Missouri. And we're going to compare those sources and just kind of give you an idea of what everyone's saying about this Missouri team. An intriguing team with Kelly Bryant taking over at quarterback. That's probably the biggest storyline, is how is he going to perform there. This team has some weapons on offense. They have some experience on defense, and they have a pretty favorable schedule as well. They do have that bowl ban, though, and I think that's really going to put a damper on what could have been a really good season for Missouri. When you look at the schedule, their only real tough game is against Georgia on the road. They get Florida at home. They get South Carolina at home. Their other road games are Vanderbilt, Kentucky, and Arkansas. Those are winnable games for Missouri. West Virginia is going to be an interesting matchup there, but I really like Missouri with that game at home. So I think it all comes together for Missouri to potentially have a really good year, but you're going to have some games on here that will be tougher than you might think, like Kentucky and Arkansas on the road. You think, yeah, Missouri's probably the better team, but playing on the road, two teams that'll be probably very desperate for wins at that point, especially Arkansas at the end of the year. So the schedule on the surface looks to be really favorable, but if you really dig into it, I think there are some teams that could actually give Missouri some problems this upcoming season. And we're going to give you our predictions here. These are the 5 sources. Our predictions, our simulation, Athlon, FBI, and the Las Vegas win total. So we're going to compare all of these sources, and you can find our predictions over on the main channel. We go much more in depth, going game by game and just looking at all of the schedule a little bit closer. But I do have their record at 8-4, and it's tough because looking at that schedule, you think 8-4, they could probably do better than that, and they probably can. But with the bowl ban and other teams that maybe need the wins that are going to be more desperate later in the year, like Kentucky and Arkansas and even Vanderbilt, I think this team could get upset in a couple of games. I don't really see them beating Georgia. Florida will be tough, but they get them at home, so they might have a chance in that game. I was close to putting them at 9-3, but I did ultimately decide to go with 8-4 just to see, because we really don't know how well Kelly Bryant's going to fit and offensively what this team's going to look like. So there is some unknown there. But I do think Missouri is going to be a good football team. Our simulations, though, didn't like Missouri even that much. They had them at 7-5. They had them getting upset in several games, and it was a bit of a surprise. I wouldn't have thought they would do that bad. Looking at our results, they lost to South Carolina at home, Florida and Tennessee at home. They lost to Arkansas. So they had some pretty tough matchups there. Some tough results there, games that didn't go their way in those, and they wound up at 7-5. So that was definitely a surprise. I was surprised to see that, but that's what it turned out to be. Again, it's just a video game, but we've seen our simulations be pretty accurate sometimes in the past, and they're not always. But you can go check that out over on the main channel. You can see the highlights from all of those games and everything. Just look for our Missouri simulation video. Athlon Sports has them at 8-4, so they agree with me. Athlon doesn't really go in depth with their predictions. They don't go game by game or anything like that. Just give you an overall record for Missouri, and they go with 8-4. Again, that's what I had for this team. I think it's probably going to be pretty accurate. I think I would probably put them at 9-3 before I would put them at 7-5, and they do have them as the 3rd best team in the SEC East. So they go Georgia, Florida, then Missouri. And I tend to agree with that. I think South Carolina and Kentucky are in that conversation as well. I think we actually might have had a 3-way tie with those teams on our predictions. I can't remember now, but you can go find out over on the main channel. Just look for our SEC predictions. The FBI, that's what's up next. FBI also has this team at 8-4. So there's a trend here, and everybody seems to be going with 8-4. And I was a little surprised before I started the video that there were no sources, nothing on here that had this team at 9-3, because I do think 9-3 is possible with a lot of those big games at home. But yeah, FBI has them at 8-4. And what's interesting with the FBI, if you go game by game, they actually are 9-3. But the 3 games that they're underdogs in are Georgia, Florida, and Tennessee. Yes, Tennessee is that 3rd game. But the Florida and Tennessee games are very close to being 50-50. It's like 49% on Tennessee, I think, 43% on Florida. They don't have much of a chance against Georgia, according to the FBI. But they do have a chance in those 2 games, and it's pretty close. And that's why, again, this team could surprise some people this year. But, yeah, the FBI does average it all out to about 8-4 for this team. In Vegas, they're at 7.5. So you'd have to go with 8 or more wins or 7 or less. It feels like 8-4 is, I wouldn't say a lock, but I would be surprised if this team went 7-5. It would have to be that Kelly Bryant just did not fit at all, and the bowl ban gets to them. They lose the locker room. They have nothing to play for. You know, it would just have to be a season that really got out of hand. But you would think that this team at least could go 8-4. Again, I think they're 8-4 or maybe 9-3. 7-5 would be a pretty big disappointment in my opinion. Again, assuming Kelly Bryant isn't a complete flop, and I think he'll be pretty good in this offense, especially running the football. One of the better running quarterbacks we've seen in a while. So, yeah, I've got Missouri at 8-4. They seem to be around that number with our other predictions, maybe even 7-5. No one really giving them a shot at 9-3, which again was a surprise for me. But if you go individual games, according to the FBI, they are favored in 9 games, and that would put them at 9-3 if you went that route. But when you average all the games out, again, you might lose some games that you're favored in, and with the 10,000 simulations, the FBI does put them at 8-4, same as me, same as Athlon Sports. So we'll see what happens. And we did a complete breakdown of the FBI, by the way, here on this channel. We did it for every SEC team. So if you want to see more on the FBI that I'm talking about and you missed that video, just look for it here on the channel. But yeah, I want to know what you guys think about Missouri. We given you these predictions. What's your prediction for Missouri? Give me your record prediction, who you think they might lose to, down in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching this video, and stay tuned for more here on the SG1 Sports YouTube channel.